Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, marks and smarks alike, we proudly welcome you to the internet's only wrestling podcast. That's right, we are the only one. We want to welcome you to Pin the Champ! All right, welcome back to Pin the Champ. We are here again on a lovely Saturday. It's getting colder outside, isn't it, Song?
It is cold and a little bit cloudy on our end, too. Fall is in full effect. Love this time of year.
But anyway, yeah, that's me, Jeremiah, and my co-host, Song.
What up, guys?
The professor is out today. As a professor, as you can imagine, as a professor in these uncertain times, sometimes the professor is needed out in the field to do the good Lord's work. So he's out today.
He got a chair shot to the head. Out.
I saw your came up behind him. He talked too much shit. Song, before we get to the fun stuff, I do have a sad note, but I feel like I want to do this, even though this is something as silly as a wrestling podcast that we goof around on every week. It is the outlet that I have, so I wanted to take a moment to dedicate this episode to my my grandson Emrys and my daughter. As you know, I've had a crazy month. The beginning of October, found out that my grandson Emrys passed away. Unfortunately, they're suspecting it was SIDS. So just want to, acknowledge that, even though there were a Monday Night Raw back in the day when Maddie used to live up here with us, that she did sit on the couch with me and watch a Monday Night Raw with me. I think she liked Seth Rollins, if I remember. She was a big Shield fan. She was like here during their come up. I was looking forward, once I got to meet Emrys and everything, turning him into a little wrestling fan. So just want to take a moment to, just dedicate this to him and just acknowledge that. So on to less sad things, though. One of my favorite things to do in the world, of course, and anytime I need to exercise my demons, is listening to music.
Right.
So one cool thing that we got to do this coming weekend, the fall coming up, is some time ago we purchased tickets to a few shows, and one of those was Modest Mouse. So we got to go to Modest Mouse. So that was cool. And I know that I had kind of probably worried you, because I was like, last time I saw Modest Mouse and your friend Ben, who we saw at the end of the
John.
Oh, was it John? Okay, sorry.
John, yeah. John and Brandon we met.
Okay, yeah.
Who happened to be at the show too, but we weren't aware they were there. And Richmond's a small town. It's kind of strange to even not know where your friends are.
But which guy was it that was saying that he was at Modest Mouse in Norfolk?
Oh, yeah, that was Brandon.
Yeah. So yeah, Brandon. I agreed with him. He was saying, look, that Modest Mouse show kind of sucked, and I think it might have been the venue, but luckily this one was rad. It was really cool. So
yeah, it was odd to be in an enclosed area with so many people. Given we're just coming out of the pandemic now, that was a little bit of a weird feeling, but nevertheless, it was a fun night, and they totally played a great show. I got a bit confused when they left stage for the first time, and then came back out. It didn't seem like the proper time to leave. And they came back out, the encore, they did like 5 songs or 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes, like during an encore. Sometimes bands go over a few songs, and they happen to this time. But I was just happy to know that, and speaking on the pandemic thing, luckily the national, they did check, they were organized, and they checked for your vaccination records and all that good stuff before they let you in. And everybody for the most part was wearing masks, when they weren't eating or drinking something. And the Idol show that I went to like a little while ago, same thing. They actually require masks the whole time and check your vaccination record. So today, anyway, back to wrestling, huh? So today on Pin the Champ,
we can be a music podcast. That's fine. I'm good with that too.
Yeah. That's fine with me too. We're going to do a spinoff. That's going to be some like bonus content. We should do bonus content on the shows that we go to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Do that, man. So today on Pin the Champ, we wanted to let you know that you are going to notice a few changes. You know, we're 22 episodes old. We're growing boys. You know, we've been doing news for a couple of episodes, but I want to try something different. You can get your news from a million different podcasts, right? There's only one or two podcasts out there that you can get news from these days, but I think you'll have no problem finding one.
Right.
So instead, we want to focus on something that you're not going to get anywhere else. All right. That's going to be what's in the professor's head, what's in Song's head, what's in my head.
So basically 3 knuckleheads.
And our stupid views. I mean, we feel like we have, you know, something to offer. We feel like it, you know, at least we're, you know, if you're a wrestling fan, we're the same as you. So like, you know,
yeah,
you know,
go get your news elsewhere.
Yeah,
don't
go
come,
get your news
don't
elsewhere.
Come to us
Just
for news.
To us for online
entertainment and stupid opinions.
Yeah, we're entertainment. We're just like the WWE.
Yeah,
we're getting the F out, and
now
we're oh man. So we're just gonna hit you with whatever on our brains and whatever's making us mad that week or whatever we want to talk about. So today I want to talk to you guys. My personal thing that I want to talk to you guys because it's been going on is I want to talk to you guys about the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments. It was cool because as I decided like what I was doing for this episode, that whole tournament was going on. So as I'm writing about it, as I'm taking notes for it, it's not about something that's already happened or an episode that I'm watching. It's like a tournament that's happening. So it's like I had to keep altering my notes as stuff was happening. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I want to talk to you guys about that. And Song is going to talk to us a little bit about some recent Roman Reigns comments about AEW. He's got some opinions and thoughts on that. Maybe he's got questions. Maybe he's got some tricks up his sleeve. Who knows? So there's a couple things that haven't changed, and we're going to keep on reviewing old school Monday Night Raws because we love watching them. Who knows what's going to happen when they become 2 and 3 hours. But anyway, for now, we're still doing that. And we're going to be reviewing and rating Monday Night Raw from April 19th, 1993. Or was it April 20, what?
22nd? I watched the wrong episode.
Yeah, so I get a text this morning. And he's like, "What episode of Raw?" I could just like feel the annoyance in his voice. It probably wasn't annoying. It was probably like some like, "What have I done?" Did you get through the whole episode?
I did. I watched the April 26th episode at about 9:00 last night, and then I woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? I must have missed something. This episode didn't go with the last episode we reviewed. So then about 10:00, I text you panicking.
That's it. I could sense the panic in your text, and luckily it's just an hour, right? And the good news is now you're like ahead of the game. You got 2.
Yeah. And then once it's 3 hour Raw, that's gonna be that's not gonna fly.
That text is gonna look a lot different. It's gonna be all caps.
Yeah.
The fuck?
I'll be watching Raw during our recording.
Oh my god, it'll just be all watch alongs. That's gonna be all we'll do.
Oh boy, getting old, it happens, man.
Yeah, man.
Brain don't work the same.
That's why sometimes we have to like. There's like when I'm editing, there's like this long like dead air while we think of the fucking word we're saying. I have to edit all that shit out. But anyway, next. Another thing that we're gonna do as far as what we're doing today, we've been so tickled by our dumbass ratings segment that we are actually going to make it official by introducing a new segment introducing our new segment that we're going to call Meltzer Skelter. And then last but not least, today I've been thinking about this for a while, man. And while I love toasting to something and finding a good reason to toast, I think that the thing is we just don't drink all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we feel like drinking, but half the time you got to water. Like you said, we're getting old. And
we record early sometimes. I don't want to drink before noon.
I know we're ruined, but we're like showing out at a Shoney's like later in the day. because we're drunk. Why are we
Oh
showing?
Lord. Yeah. Why
I'm not.
Shoney's?
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not doing any buffets right now, man. I'm not that
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So from now on, we'll just tell our fans, man, whatever it is you do, drink them if you got them, whatever it is. But another thing that we don't think has changed is that our episodes go best if you watch the corresponding episode that we're talking about, a Monday Night Raw or whatever it is. If we're doing a special, watch that before or after, just to see what we were talking about. You'll get more out of it, hopefully. And Song, since you did watch the wrong episode of since you did watch the wrong episode of Raw as punishment, got to add insult to injury. You're going to tell us today where it is that these fine people can reach out, search, and find us if they want to hear us or tell their friends about us.
Great. So I get to shill for us. Okay, will do. They can find us on Apple, Spotify.
He sounds so annoyed.
Google, Amazon Music, Pandora, Podbeam, YouTube, the last one. That is my punishment.
He thought
I am a corporate stooge now.
You can tell he works for YouTube because he said it twice. All right, man. Thank you so much, Song.
You're welcome.
He sounds so irritated. You're welcome. All right, man. So, Song, that little kid wrestling fan in you, man, all week long, since the last time we recorded with Saheem the Dream and J Mac,
which was a really fun episode. You guys go check that episode out. It was just released.
Yep,
check it out.
It was released yesterday, right? Yeah. Because
I
was still editing yesterday, dude. I edited like 30 minutes of it, and then my computer, I didn't plug it in, and it shut down without saving it, and I had to re-edit it. I was so mad.
Yeah.
But so I've listened to it a couple times, so you guys go out and listen to it. But it was a fun episode, and I can't wait to have those guys on again. But yeah, since the last time we recorded, what's been on your mind, man? What are you tuned into?
Yeah, man, definitely. Since AEW came out, there's been a lot of the fan bases have been divided. Have you noticed that at all? They seem to be like a hardcore AEW group that's like anti anything the Federation does. And I don't see it that much from the WWE fan, but there is like some kind of competition between the two fan bases now.
Yeah. And it's not really just between like, just wrestling marks. It seems to also be happening with like some of the stars out there too. I've seen like some posts back and forth.
A lot of it, I think, has to do with probably each company is getting asked, each stars from the company is getting asked questions about the other one. So might be they're probably just getting annoyed with answering the question all the time. But Roman Reigns came out in an interview with Complex.
I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. He was asked about what he thought about AEW and if they're competition or not. And his quote was, "I don't see the real competition with AEW because I think their fan base legitimately is a hardcore fan base." Rain explained, "So there's like a ceiling and a built-in ground to that viewership. The WWE's trying to connect with everybody. We're trying to connect with the mainstream." That's one of the things. And then he was asked about CM Punk and if he would want to wrestle Punk.
Oh, that's this was the interesting comments. Yeah.
This was the comment that kind of like drove the internet crazy. So Roman was asked about CM Punk and if he would like to have a match with him. Roman's comment was less than flattering to Punk. He said, and I quote, "I don't think anybody really believes someone 200 pounds soaked in wet with no explosive bone in their body could really do anything to me. I'm 6'3", 265, a legitimate athlete who can throw some weight around and has been on the gridiron at the highest level. D1, all ACC. I probably would have maintained in the NFL if my health issue didn't happen when I was 22 years old. I mean, when it comes down to it, I'll throw him and pretty much the rest of the roster out of the club, no problem. They're just little brothers, you know? So,
Yeah. So you want to hear my take on that, man?
yeah.
My take is this. It's like, first of all, brilliant on Roman Reigns to use his legitimate, NFL or I don't, I'm not a football guy, but
Yeah, no,
uh,
D1 All
oh yeah, no, it's
ACC.
like
That's a
college, right?
college
Yeah, it's
conference.
college
Yeah, yeah,
conference. Okay, but his legitimate college, football history to talk himself up and make heat, right? But the way that I see it
right,
is this: whether they're in different companies at this moment or not, now that Punk is back in wrestling, all that can happen here is good because it makes heat, it gets eyes on, we're talking about it. And then eventually, if Punk or Roman land in the same company again, then they've only upped their history. They've got a reference point
right.
for a feud. They've got
Yeah.
something to chew on. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's so many different levels to how smart it was for, there's
Well,
obviously.
Roman's been really good with interviews outside of the ring where he's in character, but also not
Mm-hmm,
the character.
mm-hmm,
So you're not getting like the whole, he's just playing up his heel
right.
persona in these interviews, but at the same time, I think he's giving us some of his honest opinion on what he thinks about.
I would say these days Roman's probably, the Roman we see on the screen is probably like a amped up version of who Roman is, just like
Right,
a chill dude that's, not a heel in real life probably, but he's,
right,
if you heal it up, you can be that version of that heel version of yourself. So I
yeah,
can
yeah,
definitely see what you're saying there. But I mean, like, and honestly, I feel like as well that all of this probably doesn't happen the same exact way, like unless kind of like Tony Khan's tweet when it was the whole like Super SmackDown versus Rampage
yeah, yeah.
FS1 gate.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I feel like if those tweets that came out kind of ramped up some competition.
Mm-hmm.
But and a lot of rhetoric that I've also been hearing around it is, from different people. I don't remember 100%, but I feel like it could have been like a Jim Cornette or like, and definitely what was his name, or Bischoff.
Mm-hmm.
Bischoff. I've heard him
Yeah,
mention as well. Like, I've heard a lot of rhetoric around, hey, stop talking about it being competition because unless you're going head to head all the time, it's not really competition.
right.
So there's just a lot of that in the air right now. And, you know, I'm pretty sure it's being picked up by mainstream news, like Sports Illustrated these days. I'm pretty sure they regularly cover
Yeah, Bleacher
wrestling.
Report
Right.
regularly cover wrestling, and then used to just be
And
strictly like
so
sports.
this is the
Um,
sport, we've, wrestlers these days or sports entertainers have to find a new way to work the crowd because we're all in on the work that's
right,
happening
right.
in the ring. So now the work is on the internet, kind of.
Yeah, and
You know
the
what I'm
way they
saying?
can, the more they can try to blur that line between real and show, the better. That's why I think that's what led to Becky Lynch being so big. She just knew how to use Twitter better than any other
Nice.
superstar at that point in time. And speaking of Twitter, Junior Dos Santos, American Top Team, who's currently on AEW, former UFC heavyweight champion, he had something to say about Roman's tweet. I mean, interview.
I remember something about this, but I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was. Tell me about this one.
Yeah. On his Twitter account, he said, "Hey, Roman Reigns, I heard your interview. Please send the address of this club. You will be throwing me and my little brothers out of
That's right.
hashtag AEWE. I mean, AEW. So, AEW.
Oh, AWE.
Right.
Oh, that's our new promotion. Oh,
Yeah. You got the attention of a former UFC heavyweight fighter there.
I kind of feel like he hasn't. He, I don't know, man. I'm nobody to say this because I'm neither a UFC fighter or a WWE/AEW or even independent wrestler. But I will say that I feel like, he's not one of the boys yet. Like, but I guess like if one of the boys say he's one of the boys, whatever. But I just kind of feel like he's riding on some pro wrestling coattails at the moment. Ooh, I said it.
He
Yeah, so
could
Dos
be, man.
Santos.
But
What do
like,
you think of that?
if he's working with Jericho, he must have some legitimate credibility in wrestling. I mean, Jericho's not going to work with just random people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like he's UFC, so he's like a skilled fighter. You know what I mean? So like,
it's more like, can he keep the other people safe when he's like, in UFC, you're legitimately trying to kill each other.
That's got to be so weird. Like
right.
Making that transition. Like I would rather make that transition from UFC to wrestling than from wrestling to UFC though, because I mean, like, Brock did it, Punk didn't.
No, Punk did not. He lasted 26 seconds.
But guess what? Pro wrestling has them both now. So fuck UFC. Oh shit! Yeah, I'm gonna get my ass kicked by a bunch of UFC people.
Yeah, by those American top team.
Yeah, man,
jackasses.
So what's your take? I don't want to get you too off topic, but while we're talking about America's top team, what's your take on that guy that's with them? The lead?
Is it Dan Lambert?
Yeah, Dan Lambert. Yeah. What do you think? Like him? Don't like him?
He's annoying, but at the same time, it seems like a good mouthpiece for that little group they have there. Because I can't imagine any other the other UFC or MMA people right there
talking
giving him a mic
like
right
that.
now. Yeah, giving him a mic right now might not be a good idea.
I agree, man. He's got like shades of Bobby Heenan in there.
I
know
was
that's
thinking like he's the annoying but entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So.
Agree. Okay. Go on. I didn't mean to throw you off track.
No, you're fine.
Tell me more about these evil tweets.
The funniest one I saw, like, before we get to MJF, Brian Cage tweeted something also about it. He had a picture of himself wrestling Austin Theory on his Twitter page.
So he's basically saying, I'm headed to NXT. No, wait. No, Theory's on Raw now, right?
Theory's on Raw now. He said, someone can Photoshop a Roman on Theory and recreate him throwing this little brother out of the club. And so I'm guessing he's saying, like, compare to, I don't know if he's throwing shade at Theory or Roman here.
Say it again. I didn't quite understand it. One more time. Who said this?
Brian Cage, the big steroid looking motherfucker
from AEW. Yeah, the one that's probably going to be in WWE soon.
Yeah, he got the body type that WWE likes. So
right.
I don't probably. But he posted a photo of himself wrestling Austin Theory in the independent scene.
Okay.
And he said someone can Photoshop Roman onto Austin Theory's body, and then it'll look like him throwing him out of the club. So
I don't know, man. I don't know who he's throwing shade at there.
I think it's more on Theory than trying to throw shade on Roman. I don't know, because in that situation he would be Roman.
I think so. I'm really confused. We're gonna need you to go ahead and update that tweet, okay, Mr. Cage.
Right. But what I found really funny is my guy MJF. He was on the Wrestling with Brandon Walker show, and asked about that. He said Roman lost in key demographic to Ruby Soho, and Ruby Soho sucks. So I don't know what to tell you. Don't get me wrong. That's not me shitting on Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns is a hella performer. He really is. I think he's absolutely incredible. I am better than him on the mic and in the ring. Sure, but I'm not going to go out my way to talk shit about him because I respect him. So while respect him, he basically shitted all over him.
Yeah.
And Ruby.
Yeah, well, MJF is just... He's going to do that, man.
Dude, that guy is...
I don't remember what it was the other day I was watching.
That's my guy, man. I love MJF.
You are like the MJF of
in real life.
Wrestling, in real life. Yeah, you're like... In my life, you were the MJF. You were always being mean to me. You make fun of me for crying at Lucas Nelson. So what, man?
Hey,
I had a tear going
well,
down
you
my
crying, and it's a
cheek.
song. What the hell are you
Song about
crying
it's a
for?
song about my home
Don't
state.
be a little bitch.
Oh, this is definitely getting edited out. Yeah, but anyway, man, I can see why MJF is your guy, man. I remember like seeing something with him recently where I don't even remember what I was watching, but he was like somebody was pregnant or just had a baby or something, and he was like, "Oh yeah, congratulations on having a baby. Fuck you," or something like it's just
Yeah.
terrible or something. It was like,
Well, this is the guy when we had a little miniature feud with who's the loose cannons kid?
oh,
Brian
Pillman,
Pillman Jr. Yeah.
yeah.
He told Pillman Jr. that his mother should have swallowed,
Oh yeah,
instead of having him.
I
Yeah.
do
I'm like,
actually remember that. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to be the most, I
hated
guess,
person in
hated
wrestling.
person, very edgy. I mean, you've seen him. Have you seen the post of where I guess it's his parents or whatever?
Yeah,
Uh,
we're MJF parents and we don't like him.
we don't even like him. That pretty much says it all. I mean, that's so clever if he's getting his parents to do that for him,
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
He's never turned off, is what I heard. Like in real life, he's he plays that role all the time.
I guess it's like if you, he's like the human Grinch.
Well, like in the old days, they say you have to live the gimmick. We're not getting a lot of that anymore. Where like you see like heel Seth Rollins, if he's doing a legitimate interview, he's just
Yeah, shaking
a
hands
normal
and
person. Yeah, yeah. But MJF is a guy that's living the gimmick.
yeah, exactly. Do you think he ever gets punched? I mean, do we ever see news reports of him getting punched?
I haven't seen any news report about that, but I think these days most of us are smart enough to know what's a work and what's not.
Hopefully,
I
I
hope.
mean, there was that
I
Shawn
mean,
Michaels event back in the day that when he went in that bar. You know what I'm talking about?
no, I don't recall this story.
Yeah, I don't know all the details. I don't want to speak to the details, but it was something where he went in a bar, a group of men who were like military trained guys or something like
Mhm.
that. You know, who knows? Like Sean probably said something or was, getting the attention of his girls or something like that, or their
Oh,
girls, and they like beat him within like an inch, of his life or
holy
something like he was
shit!
in the hospital, but they all ganged up on him or something like that. But yeah, he was, it
He
was
was living the
you gotta
gimmick.
you gotta look that story up. It's
I
pretty cool.
will.
It's definitely on the network. If you look up like a Sean special or something like that,
Oh wow,
I've definitely seen stuff about it on the network. So it's an interesting story to check
yeah,
out.
definitely. I'll check that out. I always love those type of stories outside of the ring. Like the
Real
type
life
of
shit.
yeah, those always like I find entertaining. Sometimes real life is more entertaining than show business.
Yeah, and that was on the cusp of back when, everybody wasn't in on the secret, like
Right.
like wrestlers were still expected to hold their own if they got into a fight. So there was
Yeah.
that aspect that Sean had to deal with as well, probably. I imagine.
Yeah. Who's gonna help him? He's like a wrestler. He can handle himself, right?
Right, exactly. Ugh, how it suck. I mean, you have to imagine, like, if there's some people out there who are at a bar that they see a wrestler and they're gym going to the gym too, and
Mm-hmm.
especially if he looks at him the wrong way, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, let's see what's
Especially
going
a
on.
smaller one like Michaels. I mean, I can't imagine them doing that to a Brock Lesnar though.
Right. I mean, you got like the herd mentality. If you got like a couple of friends together, like in this case, it's like ramped up. Anyway,
Yeah, but let's be real. If it's like us, is like you, me, and Kyle, and we'll throw in Sawyer, and we try to pick on Lesnar.
no, man,
They'll be
we just get
yeah,
killed.
yeah. He'll be throwing us out of the club,
Yeah,
whatever that means.
yeah.
That's my new favorite term now.
We'd be cattle on his ranch.
Right? Oh yeah, he's a butcher now.
Oh God, I don't even want to imagine that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Roman Reigns acknowledging AEW.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I like that. AEW is like acknowledge me.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah. Is that it? Is that you for the
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sweet,
that's for
man. That
me.
was awesome. That was really
What?
cool. I'm glad we got to talk about that a little bit. I did see all those tweets. Some of them kind of flew by my radar, but putting them all together like that was very interesting. So for me, man, I wanted to talk about something that's kind of going on was going on right now. And I kind of told you off camera that,
Right.
the whole tournament this year was happening as I was, making notes for this show. So I wanted to talk about the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournament. Most of my sources here are Wikipedia or just watching the show myself. But first of all, King of the Ring is definitely a nostalgic thing for me. How about you?
It is. I wish and long for the days of when it was its own pay-per-view and not just held.
Right.
Like, I liked it when the semifinal and final were all on the same night. It kind of gave it a bigger feel than having it like on each episode of Raw and SmackDown like they've been doing lately.
Right.
It really at one point for me, King of the Ring was one of the big pay-per-views that the WWF had.
Yeah, I totally agree with
I
you
wouldn't
there.
mind seeing it go back to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it something special. Take away some of these other ones and go back to that one. Make the whole.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if the whole tournament was on the pay-per-view. If it was, make it compelling.
Right. It'll be pretty cool too, I think, if they gave the winner some type of contract for a future title shot or something.
Absolutely. I was going
Make
to
it
ask that
worth
later,
a bit.
but
Oh, my bad.
no, that's cool. No, you're fine. No, let's get into it. We're talking about it now, man. So yeah, there is actually, I think what it was, and we'll talk about it in a minute too, but if I'm looking at it right, there's only one time in history that there was an additional reward given for being King of the Ring, and that was in 2002 when Brock Lesnar got a shot at the undisputed title. So yeah,
that was against The Rock, right?
That
was his first title shot, I think.
You might be correct. I'm not really sure 100% on that, but something I definitely like to look into though. But yeah, I would love to see that too. And that's actually a question I want to pose in a little while to you and our fans. What should that be? But let me ask you this first song before we get into that. What are some of your favorite King of the Ring moments I'm pretty sure, just like for me, it's going to be during some of those pay-per-view type things, or what is your one or two like distinguished moments from King of the Ring?
I think with me and like probably a majority of everybody else, it's gotta be when it catapulted Steve Austin to this, next stratosphere. Mm-hmm. Just like blew up his career. And I think that was against Bret Hart. Does that sound right?
I am not 100% on that one because I wasn't watching at the time, but I was about to say anybody who is watching during the Attitude Era or that rise of Steve Austin, that's going to be probably exactly what they're going to go with. Because even for me, who wasn't watching at that time, loved going back to watch that moment. Wasn't it Jake the Snake Roberts?
The Snake Roberts,
because
he was a preacher type character,
right? And that's the whole 316 thing.
Yeah,
Jake the Snake had come back as saved or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in the finals, he said 3-6. You Jake Roberts, you talk about your Psalms and you talk about your whatever. Well, 316, Austin 316 says, "I just whooped your ass." And, that's going to be probably that one moment.
And again, that's an example of this tournament making the star. And another one that's not as big, but I found entertaining was when Edge won the tournament, but he never held it. He never held the crown or scepter. He had his buddy Christian came out to the ring holding it every single time, because that's kind of start their like little jealousy over like Edge getting the push.
I'm wondering if that's the one because Edge only won it once, right? So that's the one that I'm watching now, 2001.
Probably.
It's like literally on my TV over there right now. Yeah. I haven't finished watching the pay-per-view, but I did see the finals. So I saw Edge beat Kurt Angle.
Yeah, up until then, Edge was just this tag team guy, and this is the tournament winning that kind of helped propel his single career.
Yeah, Yeah, it was cool seeing Christian come out there a bunch of times before he won and be like, "Hey,
Yeah,
good
it
luck, good
was
luck."
like the Christian show, but it was like Edge was the main Edge. He was like Christian was the little brother that was just trying to get everybody's attention, riding on Edge's coattail,
It was
which is
cool.
a character he plays really well.
It's been fun. Like since I decided to do this thing on King of the Ring, it's been fun watching. Like because I made that decision. I was like, well, to get me in the mood to watch, to talk King of the Ring, I want to gather some facts. I want to talk about the stuff that I love about King of the Ring. I want to talk about the King of the Ring this year, but I want to watch a King of the Ring that I haven't seen. So it was really fun watching that 2001 one. And pretty much all of it was fun to watch because I'd never really seen it before. So like, it's like wrestling archaeology for me, it's like going back
That tournament has a lot of good wrestlers in
matches.
it too, right? The one that you were currently watching. I
Yeah.
mean, if you got Edge
Yeah.
and Kurt Angle, that's pretty damn good
Yeah,
right there.
if you scroll down to the where this are, the show notes and everything, if you scroll down to the third set, it was like says King of the Ring 2001. I think those are the brackets there if you see them. So yeah,
Right.
you had Kurt Angle versus Hardcore Holly in the first round.
Oh wow, you got Jeff versus Matt, brother versus brother.
You got Christian versus Kane. And then you got Big Show and Raven. Edge versus Test, Steve Blackman versus Perry Saturn, Crash Holly versus Tajiri, and Rhino versus Taz. Oh, seems like that would have been a banger of a match. But it seemed like it was a very short match. Whoa, some of these matches were really short.
I know. What is the deal with that?
It's like the 2001 first round matches for King of the Ring were like the whole Queen's Crown tournament this year.
Yeah,
we'll get to that as well. but yeah, that's a whole thing, right? For me though, man, King of the Ring, I'd say because I wasn't watching during the time of Steve Austin, the most like the coolest thing about King of the Ring for me was the fact that my boy Brett won it twice. He's the only 2-time winner. And, it propelled that whole Jerry Lawler versus Bret Hart feud, which was a pretty good feud by WWE, standards. It was a long going feud, even though Jerry Lawler's not like your best technical wrestler. The story they were telling was a really cool one. So for me, it was watching them and then, also seeing Owen get it later was kind of cool as a heel. So I love that. I'd also like to hear from our pinheads. What was, some of y'all's, what are some of y'all's favorite King of the Ring moments? But as I was doing research for about King of the Ring, there's a few facts I wanted to talk to you about because I learned some new shit. It was established way back in 1985, which I did not know that. The events from 1985 to 1989 and also in 1991 were held as special non-televised house shows. And that's because King of the Ring started out as a non-televised way to boost attendance. So they would basically say for these house shows, these WWE live events, there's going to be a special tournament here and we're going to crown a king. So it would boost, ticket holders,
Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. Give them a reason to go to the show. I know a lot of the house show. I've been to several, and they're really,
dialed down shit. Yeah.
Dialed down. You don't even get the entrances and stuff. You'll get the music, but you don't get the pyro and the videos and things like that. They just run out. It's almost like a small indie show.
I remember being shocked the first time I went to a live show like that. The Undertaker came out without his jacket or any kind of weird shit. He just kind of had a hat on or whatever. It was very weird. Too. It was like he woke up. You
did get there was like the production went there. It's just like I guess they treat it as like an exhibition. It's not like the full blown event that you're gonna get.
Still cool to see though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anyway, the King of the Ring, it was held from every year from 85 to 2002, with the exception of 1990 and 1992. Now, it became the pay-per-views that we loved from 1993 all the way to the very final pay-per-view in 2002. So there's a big string of them here that I actually want to go back and check out now that I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
So King of the Ring came back in 2006 and has since been held intermittently, most recently, of course, this year,
Yeah.
Now, I'll say, like, since it's come back for the most part, I would say complete failure. Like, most of these kings have been failures. Sheamus, not the most, Sheamus is doing great shit now, but as a king gimmick, didn't
He
love it.
also didn't need it. He didn't need that title
Right.
or that win. He was
Right.
already established when they had that tournament. Um,
I like Baron Corbin as a lone wolf way more than I liked him as a king. And
Baron
now
Corbin is,
now it's Happy Corbin. He's just a go away guy, right?
yeah, just go away. I started to enjoy him as like the miserable Corbin or sad Corbin they were calling him, where he was just where life was beating down on him. I
you
got
just
entertainment
you
from
just want to see
that.
bad shit happen to him.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know you. You're the MJF of my life.
yeah. But now that he's
Uh,
happy is boring.
of course, in my notes I mentioned Stone Cold famously launched his career, and that's what was one of your fucking moments.
Yeah.
Uh, and then we already talked about Brock getting his 2002 undisputed title. So that brings me to my question. What stake do you think song should be added to make King of the Ring more important?
I would say a contract for a title, but don't treat it like money in the bank. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like your title date
Yeah.
is set. You win King of the Ring at SummerSlam, you get this title shot or something like that.
At this other pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, that way it's not treated like, oh, it's a surprise, it can run in anytime because we already have money in the bank for that. But
That's
if we
true.
were to use it for like the world title, the name and competitors in this tournament has to be more than like jobbers,
Yeah.
I'm not if you put a field full of jobbers and like one top star is almost like,
Mhm.
oh, we already know he's going to win this thing, right?
Yeah. Agree.
So maybe a secondary title like the IC or the United States title, a contract for that kind of
Hmm.
help catapult some of the mid carders.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, but I always kind of thought of King of the Ring as like a launching pad to world title more so than a launching pad to mid card. That's my only thing with that part of it.
It should be, but the last several tournaments that they held, the people that
We're lower
competed in
down on
it
the
just
card.
like not just mid card, they were low down on the cards,
Barry Horowitz. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Brooklyn
look at the
Brawler.
Queen's Crown tournament this year. There's like no top female performers in the tournament.
Well, they're just mishandling the women's division as a whole again. I think it's they've kind of lost touch of the women's revolution. They kind of need somebody in there spokespersoning for that, and we'll get to the Queen's Crown tournament definitely in a minute. We get some opinions there, I'm sure, but I did have an interesting thought about what the stakes could be for the king and the queen.
Well, before you give me your thought, let me ask you this: out of all the men competitor this year, outside of Xavier Wood, who would you put in the world title picture right now? From that, I mean, you had Jinder Mahal, Ricochet.
I put Kofi, Finn, Cesaro, and that's it.
Well, Cesaro's a lost cause at this point. He had his Mania win and then
Then they
that
floated
loss
him
right back
down.
to, yep.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're asking what I would do, I would make something happen. Cesaro's he's a Money in the Bank winner to me, or he's a Royal Rumble winner. I would love to see
Cesaro. I think we're in the same like state of mind with Cesaro. That is long overdue that he gets a world title run, or I don't know. He's just been mishandled. Every single push he has been mishandled.
him
I don't know.
Cesaro and Owens just need to get released and go to AEW.
Yeah, but their world title picture's probably gonna get a
booked
little
up
bit
for a while too.
start fucked too. Shit. I mean, you got Adam Page.
They just know how to do interesting stuff that doesn't involve the world title, though.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yep. So my idea for a potential reward for the king or queen this year would be to have them be the only wrestlers, the king and the queen, who can jump brands and win titles on any brand. I think that could be really cool.
That is pretty cool. Any title, or is this straight to the world title?
And it kind of harkens back to chess, right? You see, like, chess pieces can move in any direction.
Well, the king can only move like one step in each direction.
Well, you know what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, the king and queen can move around and do what they want. So they would be, in essence, the belt collectors. They could actually go from brand to brand if they wanted to. You could see it. Now King Xavier, for example, jump brands, win the tag titles with New Day, but then hop over to the brand that doesn't have New Day on it and hold the world title there, or be in world title.
And how long would that last for?
Until the next tournament. And somehow they would be if they would be cool, because they could be in the next tournament, but they could have a bye because they're king. They could get like a second round bye.
Okay.
And that way they have an advantage as king to remain king next year and be the same.
I like it.
Yeah. So let's actually talk a little bit about this year's King of the Ring. Can you pull up that graphic there for me? You see that this year's King of the Ring graphic?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So I would just like to ask you right off the bat, right below, if you don't want to see my picks first, don't look. But what did you think looking at these brackets? Let's talk down the line, and I want you to talk me through how you saw this going before you knew what was happening, honestly.
All right.
But first of all, let me ask you, did you watch it as it went along? Were you catching up with the product and keeping track of like who was winning during the tournament and all that?
I watch everything up till Crown Jewels. We know my opinion on Saudi Arabia, and it's not going to be something I'm ever going to support.
Gotcha.
Doing a show in.
Well,
but I did watch the rest of them.
All right, cool. So let's talk through this. Kofi Kingston versus Jinder Mahal. How did you see this going?
I thought for sure it was going to be Kofi.
I had Jinder winning because I thought Xavier would make it to the second round.
You didn't want to see New Day on New Day.
I wanted to. I thought that would be really cool. But,
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking if Woods win, Kofi's not going to win, but if Kofi wins, then Woods not going to win.
Right.
Because I think the WWE is trying to keep them. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They can do a cool fucking thing, man. When a cool and that's the difference, man. That the problem with AEW is if this were happening in AEW, I mean, the whole tournament may look different anyway. Mm-hmm. But if this was the thing, AEW would not be afraid to book a really cool match between Xavier and Kofi and have them going into it shaking hands and coming out of it shaking hands.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about last week when we were asked, can there be a face versus face or a heel versus heel? And can it be a good match? And then, I said, yeah, sure, why not? And they could have done a face Kofi versus a face Kingston a face Kingston versus a face Wood without either one having to turn heel at the end of the match.
Yep. I totally agree.
But the WWE don't believe they can, so they said, well, if Woods is winning, Mahal's going over Kofi.
Got it. All right. So by that token, you thought Kofi was going on. So who did you have winning out of Xavier and Ricochet?
Ricochet, just because the way the WWE treat the New Day, they're like
they're magnets.
Xavier Wood is yeah. And to them, Xavier Wood is probably the little brother to Big E and Kofi. So I would think they would have let Kofi win and then him go against Ricochet instead.
Kofi and Ricochet. Got it. Okay. We'll talk a little bit more about that little brother thing in a little bit because I have a totally different opinion. I hope sincerely this launches Xavier into a world title reign. And I think he deserves it. I think he should be on equal footing. Because he really puts together one hell of a match. So anyway, so we got you on this side of the bracket. On the right side of the bracket, we have your Ricochet versus Kofi. Who did you have going to the finals?
The finals
on the right side, yeah. Kofi versus Ricochet.
It would have been Kofi.
Okay, you had Kofi in the finals. All right, cool. So we got Kofi in the finals on your right side. And okay, so we on the left-hand side of the brackets, we have Rey Mysterio and Sami Zayn. Who did you have going over there?
Zayn.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. By some crazy weird shit going on with some Dom.
Always some crazy weird shit. The only way they let Sami Zayn win is through its crazy weird shit. They won't let him just win straight up. I don't know. They really don't like the guy.
Yeah, damn. I wonder where he'll be going when his contract runs up.
I think we know.
All right.
But his friend, his buddy Kevin Owens, he's recently, maybe a couple weeks ago, put out some crazy tweet
Oh, I didn't.
that you had to read into.
Oh, what did it say?
He gave the longitude and latitude of Mount Rushmore.
I heard about this. That's very like spy shit. That's very cryptic.
Yeah, and like him and the Young Buck was that was their name of their
Mount
faction
Rushmore,
in,
right?
Yep, in Ring of Honors.
That's right. I did read. I do remember hearing something about that.
So people are thinking like, oh shit,
here he goes.
KO's going. Kevin Steen.
Kevin Steen. All right. On the left hand side of the bracket, you got Sami Zayn going to the semifinals, and you had in the beginning you had Cesaro and Finn Balor. Who'd you have going?
This was a tough one for me. I like both guys so much, but I knew it was going to be Balor.
There you go. So you had Balor and Zayn in your semifinals, and who did you have going over out of Balor and Zayn?
Balor.
Gotcha. So you had Balor and Kofi in your finals. Who did you think was going to be king this year?
I thought we're going to get the Demon King. I thought the Prince was going to become the king.
There you go. So I actually had a
story that's right there for them, and they.
I know. So I actually had the same result with a different path.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had Jinder going over Kofi. So I had Jinder going to my semifinals on my right hand side of the brackets, and then I had Xavier defeating Ricochet on the right hand side of the brackets. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then additionally, I'm going to the left hand side of my brackets now, and Sami Zayn I had defeating Rey Mysterio. So I also agree with you there that I had Sami going to the semifinals. And I also believe Balor would go over Cesaro. So we had the same semifinal match lined up. But at that point, I thought Jinder would defeat Xavier by some underhanded means because they were going to Saudi Arabia. And so I thought they would want him, even though he's a Canadian. I thought they would want him in the finals of this King of the Ring. And then I had Balor going over Zayn in the quarterfinals. So mine would have seen Demon King versus Jinder, but I would have seen Demon King beating Jinder in the finals. But once I saw this play out, like I was saying, this was all going on when, as I was writing notes for this show. So once I knew how the finals looked with Balor and Xavier, once I knew how that actually was panned out, I thought that what was going to happen here was a huge Balor heel turn. I thought that he was going to get tons of heat from taking away Xavier's win. I thought he was going to go batshit crazy on, I thought the lights were going to go down. And he's going to come out and just heel it out against Xavier and either squash him or, just do whatever, just get a bunch of heat. And so because, I've heard some rumors. I don't know. I mean, I think you keep up pretty much the same way that I do, reading Bleacher Report and all that good shit when you get a chance. So, I'm sure you've heard the stuff about Balor being a big deal going forward on Raw. So I thought that was going to be it. I thought, either A, he's going to go over as a face against Jinder originally is what I thought. But then I thought that, once it was Xavier and, also the fact that he was kind of heelish in his NXT run, especially at first, I thought he was going to do something different because he's kind of, ever since he went back to the main roster, he's kind of defaulted back to the same Balor character that he left was it? I don't remember what was SmackDown. I think it was SmackDown. Was it SmackDown or
No,
Raw?
he lost to the Fiend on Raw, and you never
Okay,
saw
and
him
then he
again,
left.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So he kind of came back as that same unchanged character, and I was waiting for this
yeah.
change to happen.
I liked his character in NXT so much more because he had an edge to him, you know.
Yeah.
But he came back and he had two good matches with Roman. So, despite the character, the work is still there.
Oh yeah,
He's a great worker.
you're never gonna have a problem with it. I'm glad that they gave this match was good. I mean, well, so okay, the match was good, but I did feel like I was surprised by the end of the match. I thought that it ended kind of short with that elbow that Xavier did. I know you say you don't watch it, but
Yeah.
but the match, while it was good, it kind of was a little shorter than I thought it would be. You know. So,
Gotcha.
but I will say, King Xavier, he did look awesome though. Like once he went to the throne, he put his cape on, and at first, like sitting on the pedestal, I thought that the crown looked. I wasn't sold on it. I didn't know how I felt about it yet, but when he put it on, it looked right on him. It looked like classic or something. I don't know. It worked well, and I hope he does. I hope he becomes like his own, like unique character. I hope this definitely turns him. He's an over the top guy anyway, right? He likes
He'll start speaking with a British accent.
Is he going to pull a
true
Booker T?
royalty?
Going to do a Booker T? Yeah. So I did look up a list of the former King of the Ring winners because I just kind of wanted to see what I did and didn't know. I've got that link on our episode if you wanted to look at it, but I didn't know anything about Don Morocco. I guess this was the era that it was like the house shows. I knew about Harley Race because Harley Race was the first king that I knew about. He was fighting as King Harley Race when he fought like JYD at WrestleMania 3, maybe. I want to say 3 or 2. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Of course, I remember King Savage. That was I would say he's one of the more
Macho King. The Macho King, right?
Absolutely. One of the most successful kings, I think, of our youth, right? I think one of our most distinguished kings. But then there was one in 1988. Ted DiBiase defeated Randy Savage in the finals to win the tournament. And I think that was a missed opportunity because I would have loved to have seen King DiBiase.
Yeah, he already has millions of dollars, and now he's like royalty too. It'd be awesome.
He'd have to like take it to Scrooge McDuck level. Like you'd have to see him in a palace, like swimming in coins or something. That would be fucking amazing. But then the next year after Ted DiBiase, another one that I didn't know about was King Santana. King Tito Santana happened. And I guess this was 89. And he defeated his ex-partner, Rick Martel, in the finals. So it was a Strike Force-centric King of the Ring. I would love to
go back and watch that, dude.
If we can. Like, I don't even know. Some of these might be house shows. Like, I would really love to know if I would really love to know if if there's footage of these King of the Rings out there. If anybody knows by chance.
There were no cell phone cameras back then.
Please hit us up. Yeah, there's no cell phone cameras. Of course, both back-to-back 91 and 93 and 92. Remember, I said they skipped a year. Bret Hart won, and that was like the shit. That was the awesome years for me. That was the ones that I was like, this is awesome. And then after that, Owen Hart won, and that was the whole heel Owen Hart thing, King of Hearts. And I thought that whole Bret Hart winning twice to Owen Hart winning was like high points in the King of the Ring tournament, right? And then we get 95. I wasn't a big fan of King Mabel, I don't know, like I just didn't buy King Mabel at all. Like this, I never was a fan of like the giant wrestler guy, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Mabel or Viscera or whatever.
But Mabel defeated Savio Vega in the finals to win the tournament, so that was another one that I think that one might have been on pay-per-view though. So that's one you could go back and watch. And then of course you have the year after that, the famous Stone Cold win. And then you just go down the list, several others, many of them that I did know. You get into the later years where it was like Sheamus, Wade Barrett. Yeah, these are the ones that were kind of like year after year kind of went downhill. Wade Barrett,
Yeah.
Sheamus, Wade Barrett, Baron Corbin just weren't very successful kings. I kind of forgot that Wade Barrett won the kingship.
Did Wade Barrett win as Wade Barrett or as Bad News Barrett?
I think he won as Wade Barrett, defeating Neville, believe it or not.
Neville?
Yeah. This was
How?
back when Neville was in
Wow.
the, isn't that crazy?
How long was Neville on the main roster?
I don't know. Before they kicked him over to 205 Live.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of remember that. I kind of remember the year Wade Barrett won. That's all going to be on the network too, man.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll have
pretty
to check.
sure.
I'll go back and watch that one.
Yeah,
I love Neville.
I thought
I
that was
like
kind of
Barrett
cool.
too. That should probably be a decent match.
Yeah, probably. I think I remember it being decent. Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we know it's often hit or miss with the King of the Ring gimmick, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the performer to get the gimmick over, whether it's a big success or failure.
I really hope this. I really hope this is a a launching pad for Xavier Woods.
Well, that's the question that I want to pose to you and our pinheads. What do you think that Xavier is going to do with this? Will Xavier as King be a bust, or will he be a success?
I think he's
No, not you, Xavier Woods.
I'd be a great king, man. I tell you right now, I'll make everybody like
you,
kiss my feet and shit.
Oh my god, you'd be like it'd be like having an MJF king, right?
I'll have a human footstool, and I'll play human chess. That's
nice.
where I'll do it. But no, let's Xavier Woods. I think he's such a charismatic guy. I think he can turn this into something. I mean, he'll make a good run of this. Hopefully, this would lead to a world title for him, because we all want to see all three members of the New Day with the world title at one point.
Here's the thing, man. Everybody that I tell, like, I think Xavier needs to win the world title, they seem like, whoa, wait a minute, buddy, dial it back a minute. I don't know, man. Like, what do you guys think? Like, I would love to hear from you guys about this, but I feel like there is a story to be told here, especially now that Xavier has won the kingship. He can elevate himself even more. He's going to have more of a platform, and I feel like he needs to have that world title reign. Like, I feel like New Day, as all former world champions, would just surefire like greatest tag team of all time.
That should cement them, yeah, definitely. But I think a lot of it goes back to what people are telling, like when they're questioning if he does, is a world title material. It just goes back to like what we were talking about. Like, he is kind of looked on as the little brother of the New Day group,
Yeah, and I think he should be shed of that, because I urge you, go like type in Xavier Woods into your, I want to say WWE Network, but it's Peacock. Anyway,
is there any particular match you want us to look at?
I mean, just look at the stuff he's been doing recently, his recent work. But let's look at New Day versus the Wyatts. Let's look at, oh my God, dude, he is definitely, even if you go back that far, you're probably looking at a different Xavier Woods. But I would say, look at his recent stuff. I think he's grown as a performer exponentially, and he's always been good, so.
Yeah, well, New Day now is nothing like what New Day was meant to be. Remember when they first started, they were supposed to be like like preaching and stuff like that.
They were just like gospel singers at first. We didn't know what the hell to make out of it.
A white shirt, black tie, like Mormons coming to knock on my door asking me if I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Their vignettes they were like doing the clapping and all that stuff, but
probably what McMahon imagined church is like for black people. They're like, hey, this is your character now, buddy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're probably right. But anyway, just a testament to those guys at what they ended up turning around and doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they killed it. They are definitely a case in which when I first saw the gimmick, I was like, this is going nowhere. This is like fucking Max Moon shit, you know?
Yeah, I was like, well, there goes their career. All three of them, they're done. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. But then they turned it around and it's become the best fucking thing ever. These guys are many times over tag team champions, and now 2 out of 3 world champions, and now
Royal Rumble winner, Money in the Bank winner.
yeah.
Now you got a King of the Ring winner.
Wait, who won the Royal Rumble?
Didn't Kofi win the? Oh no, he didn't. I'm sorry, my
No, yeah,
bad.
nobody. No,
Yeah.
yeah, he did not win a Royal Rumble. I was like, did he? But maybe did he
I
win like a Money
forgot.
in the Bank?
No,
He
no, he
song is
he
getting
had.
old, guys. It's
I
but
forgot what happened.
no, what it
I
is
forgot.
Kofi is Mr. Money in the or Mr. Royal Rumble. He always does
That's
the
right.
trick spots.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. All right, so man, yeah, that's my take on it. I think Xavier is gonna also do great things with it. I think King should be over the top, and I think he's gonna have a great platform now. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the inaugural Queen's Crown tournament. So I'll ask you, what are your thoughts on that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, as far as like what you've heard about it, I think we all know there's been a lot of news around it being there's been a lot of negativity around it online about it being too short, not really highlighting women's wrestling or doing them any favors. Do you agree with this sentiment? How do you feel about it?
I completely agree with it. I don't know. This was just thrown down to say they see we have a tournament for the women too. I think that's why they did it. But like from the match length, they're all like about under 2 minutes or so,
Mm-hmm.
and then nothing against the people participating though, because Tony Storm's a hell of an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Shayna Baszler, she's a legit badass, and then Natalia, she can do anything in the ring just about, but just weren't given the time to let them do anything, you
Gotcha.
know?
All right.
And then
Go ahead.
the winner Dewdrop,
She
I
didn't
haven't
win.
really seen her. Oh, she didn't win?
No.
Oh, I didn't watch it.
Okay, cool. Well, let's talk through what you thought happened, or what you thought would have happened initially. Do you want to do it the same way, or you just want to roll me through who you thought the winners would be?
Well, I thought Dewdrop was going to win just because they had her fighting Vega, who's been treated like, an afterthought.
That makes
That's
sense.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. They
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
let her
yeah.
win one.
Yeah, Vega won. Vega is the queen. So
I'm still not going to watch it.
so you thought obviously Dewdrop was going over Natalia, which I mean you could call
No,
Dewdrop versus
she did go over Natalia,
she did
didn't
go
she?
over
Yeah.
Natalia.
Yeah.
And so the thing about that is that I mean some could call that an upset, right? I mean Piper Niven, Dewdrop,
Hmm.
excellent. We knew her. I know that I've seen her do a lot of stuff in like the Mae Young stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like NXT UK stuff.
She's
Uh,
another one. Like, what the fuck did they change her name for?
I don't know.
She
She's
came in
she's owned
as
it.
a lackey for that
Eva Marie.
stupid, talentless hack.
Oh wow. You don't have a strong opinion on that one, do you?
Ava Marie is the worst.
So yeah,
It's just
Dewdrop did go over Natty. You thought Dewdrop was going to go over Natty.
mhm.
Baszler and Brooke, I'm pretty sure you had to
I
beat me
went
on this, right?
Baszler. Yeah.
Yeah. I went Baszler as well. And then so you had Dewdrop and Baszler, and you had Dewdrop going over Baszler then. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think I had Baszler going over. Yeah, I definitely did. I had Baszler going over in the quarterfinals to get to the finals on that side.
Which would have been fine too. That would have
Yeah.
been fine too.
So Tony Storm versus Elena Vega. Who did you
I
have?
thought for sure that was going to be Tony Storm. She
Me
just
too.
came back.
I had the same thing. I had Tony
Yeah.
Storm, needed to get a win. They've been treating Zelina terribly, so I didn't think she was going to make it out of the first round, honestly.
Right.
Right. Liv Morgan versus Carmella.
Mella.
Yeah, I had Carmella over Morgan. And then in my quarterfinals, I had Tony Storm, and then Mella, and then who did you have?
I would have had a Storm.
Storm going over.
Yeah.
And same thing with me. I had Storm over Mella. So I had Storm and Baszler in the finals, but Baszler wins. So I had logic stuff, logically going on. To me, was what I had going on was Storm makes it to the finals to cement herself as a threat, but she doesn't make it because Baszler is a monster, and now she's the queen of spades.
Again, something was written right there for him.
Exactly right. So that's kind of how I thought it was gonna pan out there. Again, Vega beat Doudrop in the finals here. What actually did happen, Vega beating Doudrop in the finals fairly quickly to win. It was just not I know you say you didn't see it. It wasn't anything. If you turned away quickly, you missed it. The finish was impressive. She hits her finisher on Doudrop. That thing where she flips. I forget the name of it. I can't remember. I can't be held responsible for not knowing the names of these moves. There's too many moves, people.
Especially for somebody that never been showcased or always treated as a comedic act, just about.
Yeah, exactly. So I hate that they didn't give the women time enough for this. They didn't make it as special as they would for King of the Ring. I've been saying on this podcast, I've said it before, they're kind of dropping the ball recently with the women's division a little bit. So I feel like personally, they should consider making King of the Queen's Crown, make it a part of a women's pay-per-view, make it like more like the Mae Young Classic, make it huge, turn the Mae Young Classic into the Queen of the Ring or the Queen's Crown tournament.
That makes a lot more sense.
Still have Mae Young tied in there somewhere, as long as you're not tying in the Moolah. So one cool thing that I think though is that Vega, she's going to have a ready-made feud set up with Charlotte Flair, who of course is a queen, Charlotte Flair, right? So just like Jerry Lawler had a beef with Bret the Hitman Hart back in the day, I think that they could really do something along the same lines here, and they could have Charlotte kind of say, doesn't matter what tournament you win, if you haven't beaten me, then you're not the queen. You've got like a built-in feud here, and will it happen?
But it's hard to, at this point in time, with all the misstep they've taken with Zelina Vega, how are you going to get people to buy into her as a legitimate threat to Charlotte Flair?
Well, I think you do it through that Charlotte Flair feud. You can even have her lose. You can make it a long feud. You can make it a hell of a feud because we know Zelina Vega can wrestle. We know that Charlotte Flair can wrestle. We know that if WWE will give women a chance, they can wrestle. So
they don't know what to do outside of the top 4 women. They don't know what to do with the rest of them.
Right. But in this situation, you've got even if Charlotte Flair doesn't have a title at the time, she doesn't have to have a title.
Yeah.
But she can still go and say, Vega, stop saying you're the queen when you're not the queen. I'm the queen. No, but nobody's the queen without beating the queen, Charlotte Flair. And then you've got a built-in feud right there, and it's for the ultimate queenhood, and that's how you make Zelina. You have her, come out and lose a match or two, against Charlotte, and then you have her, and that's just, her saying you're not in my league, and then you set it up for a pay-per-view, and have Zelina show out and win that crown for sure, and just solidify herself as the queen, and then you've made a star. Imagine that shit.
Well, you have more faith in the WWE than I do.
No, I don't have faith. I don't have faith that it's going to happen. I just am telling you what could be cool. This could potentially, hopefully, catapult Vega's career if they did something like that before Charlotte potentially leaves for AEW, because after all, her husband's there. And I did read a report. I don't know if you've read the same report. I can't quote who it was, but I read some kind of report somewhere that said that Charlotte Flair is not the most liked person backstage in WWE. She, and things like that. There might be some heat there. And if that's the case,
there's some heat from last night title exchange with Becky.
Oh, I did not see that yet. Tell me about it.
If
you want spoilers are about to happen.
Well, it's like the next day, so
okay, cool. Yeah, just saying.
Plus, by the time we release it, as you know, they had a segment last night where Becky and Charlotte were supposed to exchange title because they're champion of different brands.
Mm-hmm.
I think Becky's going to Raw, but she has a SmackDown title, and Charlotte's coming to SmackDown. She has the Raw title. So during the exchange, Charlotte just kind of threw the Raw title on the ground.
Oh, really?
For Becky, and that was not what was scripted. They were supposed to hand the title off, and backstage, Becky took that as disrespect. So there was a backstage argument between those two.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and then
crazy.
Andrade went on Twitter and just did "Fu WWE."
I saw that.
That was what that was all about.
I didn't catch the whole fucking thing. That's awesome to know. I got to go back and read about that. Thanks for cluing me in. Who says this isn't a news podcast? I take back what I said earlier.
We're not a news podcast. We spread rumors.
We spread rumors. We have unfounded. We have no friends on the inside. I want to go ahead and let you guys know that again. So, okay. Before we get to Raw, which we're almost done talking about King of the Ring here. Like I was telling you, moving forward, I really want to get in the mood for what I'm talking about on this show. So I thought, what's better than to, make some new memories about King of the Ring and watch one that I hadn't seen. So I watched the 2001 one, which is the one you were saying earlier is the one where Edge won. I know that this one also had something to do. It was around the same timeline as the Invasion angle. And remember, this is stuff that I've seen clips of on different documentaries.
This is where you tuned out.
Where I was tuned out for a bit. Yeah. So it was cool seeing some Invasion angle stuff, even though I know the Invasion angle wasn't a success, which, I think it would be cool to do like a whole what if thing at some point on what if the right people came. But they also had a really cool ramp set up with a giant electric chair on this pay-per-view. Like the entrance ramp was a giant like electric chair that the wrestlers came out from under. So that was kind of cool. That was a really cool look.
Was it an electric chair or a throne?
Maybe. It looked like an electric chair, but I guess a throne makes more sense.
I mean, Edge does have a move called the electric chair drop, so maybe it's foreshadowing his win.
Oh, wow. That's very true. Yeah, they had I looked at it as an electric chair, but maybe it's just because it was huge. It kind of reminded me of, that electric chair that Abdullah the Butcher was in that one time in that cage.
Yeah.
It looked like that.
So I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, like when I was looking at this pay-per-view and knowing that I would be talking about it on the show a little bit, I was like, okay, what do I not like about this pay-per-view and what do I like about it? I liked a lot more than I didn't like because of the fact that I hadn't seen it before. So a lot of it was like, oh, this is new to me. This is cool. This is intriguing. So some of the things that I thought were really cool. I hadn't up until this point seen too much Diamond Dallas Page in the WWE. So it was kind of cool. I'd heard on different podcasts that he came into the WWE with some crazy stalker gimmick. And he kind of came in as like the Undertaker stalker or something like that. So I got to see a little bit of that in this pay-per-view. They had a bunch of those clips. So is that something that you remember or have memories of?
Yeah, I think he was like stalking Undertaker's wife at the time or something.
That's Sarah, right?
Broader than that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly. I was going to ask. I actually have that written in blue on my is a question on my notes for you.
Do you remember Undertaker used to have Sarah tattoo on his neck before he got it? Yeah,
untattooed
or tattooed over. Who knows?
However it works.
That's why you never tattoo people's name on your body.
So this commentary team was Paul Heyman and JR, so that was pretty cool. I like that about it. I'd say the pay-per-view itself was good. I got to see a lot of stuff that I didn't get to see much of. Angle did beat Christian in the first round, which I kind of forgot that later that he was even in the tournament, and like later on he was like, well, good luck, Edge, or whatever. Right. I thought seeing Taz interview Chris Jericho in the WWE was kind of weird now that they're both in AEW. So that was kind of cool seeing those young guys in the WWE. I also, until I looked at that list, didn't remember that Billy Gunn was a King of the Ring winner until I watched this, because he did a little interview in this where, I think somebody was asking him his opinion on who was going to be the King of the Ring. And he was like, I don't give a damn who's the King of the Ring. I'm the best King of the Ring or whatever. Yeah.
I think that's when he was he changed gimmick during that time. He was like what Mr. Ass, and then he went by that time he was going by the one Billy Gunn, and he had like a really ugly finisher, kind of like a chokes. He takes
Really?
from behind. Yeah,
So he
it
had like a
starts with a
million. So he had
yeah.
like a million names.
Yeah. It was kind of odd that they were trying to give him a singles push at that point in time. So he won King of the Ring. He changed gimmick, went by the one Billy Gunn, and then they put him in a War award with The Rock, which kind of ended his career.
A war of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to do that against The Rock.
No, you're not going to put somebody that has no mic skill against The Rock.
So I do have a question for you. During the end of this tournament, Shane McMahon speared Angle to help Edge win King of the Ring. I didn't know this. Was Edge a WCW guy at any point during this time? Why was Shane? I know that Shane bought WCW. I remember that from the episode, the famous episode where he's like, "No, Dad, I bought WCW," or
Where he
whatever.
showed up on Nitro.
Where he's on Nitro, yeah. But what? So I know his tie to WCW is that he bought it. But what I don't know is like why. So how did Edge become on the side of WCW?
At this time, they didn't have much faith in the WCW guy that they brought along. So
Yeah,
they kind of like
added people in.
They added people that was in the WWE into their alliance, and I think
That's
Edge
right.
might have been one of their character. I know at one point Austin was the guy that they kind of put into that role also.
That's right. Okay, so Austin was a WCW guy. That's right. Yeah. I need like the graphic novel version of those little storylines so that I can just go back and piece that together. So they should do that. I think if they haven't somewhere on the network is like, okay, you want to see the invasion angle. Here's the order of Raws, SmackDowns, and pay-per-views that you need to watch, so you can watch it as like the graphic novel. That'd be cool. So yeah, aside from that, I thought also, I don't think I ever had seen that light heavyweight title belt that Jeff Hardy had on this episode.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, take a look at it, dude. I think it was like awesome.
It's the one Gilbert had.
Oh, is it? I don't know,
it's
dude.
The same title.
Dude, I really like it. It looks good on Jeff. Jeff Hardy looked really good in this. I thought this
unless it's the WCW Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy fought X-Pac on this pay-per-view. And
was it a title unification match or something?
I don't think so. I just think it was his belt on the light heavyweight belt. It was really cool looking. Also, at the time that I went into this pay-per-view, I didn't notice Steve Austin was the champ. Getting to see him on this pay-per-view was cool. I thought his belt also looked funky. It was like it was like a weird version of the Winged Eagle belt. It was like a newer version, which I have seen that before. It was like the Winged Eagle belt, but it was like an updated Winged Eagle belt. Kind of looked kind of weird.
Yeah.
We already talked about it. I was going to ask you, was that Sarah Lady Undertaker's wife? And I thought it was. Oh. So yeah, absolutely. So the only thing that I had to criticize,
she's not anymore.
I know that. Yeah, definitely. That's why, because it'd be kind of fucked up for him to remove the tattoo. He's like, if they just got in a fight. So the only thing that I really had to criticize, like, and I didn't finish the whole pay-per-view because, like I told you, I was watching it up until the moment we got on here. This might sound a little like bitching, but during the Hardy versus X-Pac match, when I guess it's just a pet peeve of mine, when I see wrestlers call their moves too much, it takes me out of the whole game. And I felt like I kept seeing them do that a lot during that. So as a whole, from what I saw of King of the Ring 2001, that was my only gripe was, man, don't let me see you call your matches, people.
Yeah. Charlotte Flair is notorious for that.
Yeah, true.
She's really loud too. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
so that's what you got.
Yeah, that's really all I got. Thanks for hearing me out on that, guys.
Yeah, that was really good and really entertaining, man. Thank you. So for all our pinheads out there, what's on your mind this week? What's making you happy, sad, mad? Drop us a message on Facebook at our Pin the Champ page, or call us and leave us a message on Google Voice, 804-446-8692. 1139.
Yeah, man, we really do want to hear from you guys. Whatever's on your mind around King of the Ring, around those Roman Reigns comments, or whatever's pissing you off this week or making you happy to be a wrestling fan. We want to hear all that stuff. Just let us know. So
Yeah,
on to go ahead.
treat us like therapy. Just leave us all your gripes.
Yeah, very good likelihood we'll talk about it on the air. So I guess it's about that time, dude, that we get to the actual thing that we do here.
What is that?
Review old classic episodes of Monday Night Raw.
April 26th.
Old men. Yeah, the April 26th episode. You ready to talk about this? So, as far as this episode of Monday Night Raw this week, again, the actual correct date, now that you messed me all up, is April 19th. Yeah, it's the April 19th Monday Night Raw. And, to me, I think the centerpiece of this match, obviously, you come on as soon as Monday Night Raw hits, you get these weird kind of like old school promos with like Money Inc. and, like DiBiase and IRS looking off to the side, talking to Beverly Brothers and like, doing their heel spill, their whole heel thing. And then you see the Beverly Brothers and they are also doing the same pose with the same, background, dark background, and they're talking shit about Money Inc. And so we know this is going to be kind of the centerpiece of this whole episode of Monday Night Raw is this whole like Money Incorporated versus Beverly Brothers stuff, right? Yep. So my only question here is, why is this got to be a non-title match? Were the Beverly Brothers not deserving of a title match, or did they just not beat anybody else? Or do you agree with this, or would it have been more exciting if it was a title match? I
think the only reason it's not a title match is probably because it's on Raw, and back then they kind of kept title matches to pay-per-views. But at the same time, I know. At the same time, why say is a non-title match if you're going to have the champion go over anyway?
Right.
But what has the Beverly Brothers
done for us
lately?
A
title match? Yeah.
I mean, they have great bleach blonde hair for one.
Who the hell even wants a non-title match? Remember the week before, like they requested a non-title match. They got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Why
who
would
request
you request
a non-title match? Give me a goddamn title match, Money Inc.
Right.
You think you're so good? Put your titles on the line. Oh yeah. Speaking of Saheem, which we mentioned Saheem and Jermaine earlier. Going back to Saheem's question from the last show, if one of these teams were the face and one was the heels, who was who here?
It looked to me that the Beverly were playing the heel because
Really?
they did a lot of the isolation. They isolated DiBiase and were doing a lot of the tactic to get IRS to come in the ring to distract the referee while they double teamed DiBiase.
Maybe some of that stuff happened towards the beginning of the match. I know I started paying attention towards the end of the match at who seemed to be healing it up, and for me, it seemed like that the Beverlys were kind of the bleach blonde faces, and Money Inc. was kind of healing it up. Either way, though, it was I was just wondering because of Saheem's question.
Yeah.
Like, okay, was there a heel and was there a face here? And
well, they were both heel then.
Right. Well, they were both heel. Yeah. Because you thought the one was heel and I thought the other. So I guess that equals both of them were actually heels. But on my end, it kind of looked different. So I guess it's your perspective, man. Oh my God. It's all about perspective, Saheem. The dream.
How about that?
So anyway, man, I do think that the Beverlys wrestled a little more face, but either way, solid match. I think it was DiBiase rolled up Bo Beverly for the win, and yes, I did have to look that up on Google to make sure it was Bo and not Blake.
I thought it was just Mr. Beverly and the other Beverly.
That's only if they're
it's mustachio Beverly and no mustache Beverly,
clean face Beverly, baby face Beverly. Oh, see, there it is. They're baby faces.
If the announcer ain't going to bother getting them right, why should we?
That's very true. Hell, Vince doesn't even know who it is. So actually, also the opening match of the night tonight was Razor Ramon versus Virgil, aka Soul Train Jones, aka Mr. Meat Sauce Madness himself.
Get that meat sauce.
Yeah.
Hey, during this match, did you notice the one little kid like really screaming for Razor?
Oh, really? No, I didn't
There,
notice that. I'll
there
have to
were
go back
some
and listen.
Virgil chants, but then
Uh,
like at one point in the match, like there's just one kid you get like just screaming for Razor Ramon. Like, is this the beginning of where the bad guy is cool
Must have
in
been.
wrestling?
She was the genesis of his face turn, of his I'm too cool for school. But I
Right.
thought Virgil got a lot of offense in on this match. Actually, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like a razor squash Virgil situation. Virgil had a little bit of offense in here, and he looked good against
Yeah,
Razor before Razor did win with his patented Razor's Edge.
I always like seeing the Razor Edge. One of my
Yeah,
favorite finisher.
yeah, and that's
Um,
why this was a good thing for me. You know, I don't
yeah,
care if it's Razor versus Virgil on paper. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But it's Razor on and Virgil on Monday Night Raw in a what 4 or 5 minute match, maybe,
About
maybe I'm wrong, but
Well, he's a Virgil is a really good jobber. He does his job and takes the eat the pin and gets his money.
yeah,
He's a
and then
glorified jobber.
he hits the MARTA station and he sets up a table and he says Ted DiBiase is going to be there with him, and then he's just got pictures of Ted DiBiase.
I mean, who else can go? He's the great app maker that he is.
Yes, exactly. Please, if you have not already, go to your Apple store, go to your
Google
Google
Play.
store. I assume it's on Apple. I know it's on Google because I have a Google phone. You have an
It
Apple
is.
song?
Yeah,
It's
it's
on
it's
there.
on there.
Okay,
It's
okay,
on
cool.
there.
Yeah. So Meat Sauce Madness, baby. So Virgil, I'm just poking lighthearted fun at you. I want to help you sell your game. That's awesome. I mean, check the reviews, people. Also, of course, anytime there's a Brett interview, it's going to be considered a win for me. So this episode had, Vince McMahon, the man himself, the boss himself, interviewing Brett before Brett had to spit on Vince. They get screwed by Vince. Vince actually refers to Brett here as the people's champ. So what the hell,
Yeah, I
Rock?
caught that.
What the
Yeah.
hell, Rock? You stole Brett's gimmick. Can you smell
Well,
what the Brett's cooking, Rock? If you don't believe me, Rock, go watch the episode. April 19th.
the people's champion Bret Hart.
That's right. The people's
Yeah, I
champion.
caught
Bret
that
Hart.
too. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's because, Brett's the underdog. He was the
Yeah.
underdog against Yoko. But Brett says he likes being an underdog
Why would you like being an underdog?
because people prove you wrong. You can wait, I meant that the other way.
Don't you
You
prove
can
people
prove
wrong?
people wrong. Yeah, you can prove people wrong. As a matter of fact, when you're the underdog, you can make a hit list with the narcissist Lex Luger at the top of it song. Yep. And then they show footage of Lex Luger. He's attacking Bret Hart during a press conference here. This is back at like Mania, I think, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
like Bret's
Maybe
doing
what brunch or something?
the Mania luncheon.
Yeah.
I want to go to the Mania luncheon. But yeah, they show that footage of Lex attacking Bret. So he's the first guy on Bret's hit list, the people's champ. And then Vince talks a little bit about investigating Lex Luger's elbow. And my thought was like,
It was the
what are you
forearm,
investigating?
right?
Yeah.
It was the forearm.
Bionic
Well,
forearm. What are you
yeah,
investigating? You know it's bionic. You call it the bionic forearm. You know he's had surgery. What's the investigation about? Whether he hits you with it? It's on
right.
tape that he hits you with it.
Yeah, but didn't Brett say like it was more than bones? So we know it was more than bones. They've
We
been
know that.
advertising it as a
He's like the Wolverine.
bionic
He's got
forearm.
adamantium in that shit.
Adamantium.
I don't need an investigation. You heard it first on Pin the Champ. There's adamantium in them bones. Bret
Oh,
Bret
man.
Hart being the people's champ and the underdog that he is, he even calls out Hulk Hogan in this interview.
Good for him. Fuck Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, dude. I've heard in places or on the internet, different places. I can't recall the sources because this is like long ago. But I've heard that stories that the match never happened because Hogan didn't want to put Bret over. Like during
That sounds
time.
about right. I
Mhm.
I can see Hogan doing that.
I don't, brother. I can't lose against somebody who wears pink.
What a douchebag. He's Canadian. He's not getting my title.
Yeah, exactly. So as far as some other things that happened on the card that were just kind of like, meh, you had Giant Gonzalez, right? We had a Giant
Ooh.
Gonzalez match during this. He jogged his ass out to the ring. Did you notice that? Like, nothing is worse than seeing a man in a airbrushed, flesh-colored, hairy costume than watching that flesh-colored, hairy costume run out to the ring, like jogging out to the ring with Harvey Whippleman behind him.
This is the second episode we got to see Jobber Extraordinaire L.A. Gore.
That's true. I noticed that. Yeah.
La Gore.
That was a fuck of. Did you hear that fucking chop that Gonzalez laid on LA Gore?
Yeah.
It was ugly, dude. Yeah. But that's right. We did see LA Gore. But we saw Gore before.
Yep.
The
callback.
Also, another thing that happened. Luna Vachon versus Sherry. We got a rundown of all that, right?
God, man, Luna Vachon, how does she talk like that for the whole segment? Is crazy. My throat would be like, just my vocal cord will be destroyed. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Every time I see her now, I'm so convinced, and I don't understand why they never partnered her with Ultimate Warrior and make them heel. That's like my new fantasy. Like when we get 2K22, if Luna Vachon and Ultimate Warrior are in it, he's going to be a heel and she's going to be his manager. We need to
because their promo style is so similar.
So similar. Yeah. They're like perfect boyfriend and girlfriend, like, just craziness. Like it would be a perfect combination. But yeah, I totally agree. I even wrote that down in my notes that the reason it was like a part of the show that I could have lived without was every time I hear her, I feel like, oh, dude, I need a Lasange or something. A lozenge. I need a.
For you French now?
How do you say that? I don't know how to say
Loxygen? Loxygen?
Yeah, loxygen.
I don't know.
I didn't have my loxygen.
Cut this whole shit out.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, we're not cutting that at all. So basically, yeah, Luna Vachon promo. She's just, talking about Sherry, talking about how she's going to just beat her ass. And they cut back to footage of them ripping each other apart. I'm sure that if Kyle saw this, the professor saw this, he would have had a chubby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get also during this episode of Raw, we get Tatanka versus Art Thomas. Just, just a jobber match. Art got a little stuff in early, but not a huge highlight for me because I know you said you're a Tatanka fan when you were a kid.
Yeah, the streak kind of really sold him to me. It's like, that's so cool. I can't believe how much matches has been beaten, and it's crazy.
He's been beating 130 Art Thomases.
Yeah. You know what? I tried to look up Art Thomas though, because I was just
and there was a black guy
doing it. Was Sailor. It was like Sailor Art Thomas,
but he was also a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he was a wrestler. He was the Sailor Art Thomas or something.
What's up with that?
I was like, oh wait, did he change race?
It's so weird, dude. Like, yeah, I couldn't find a white Art Thomas anywhere.
Did he white face for this match? I don't know. Oh, I think we have an assignment for the next show. Find the real Art Thomas.
Yeah, we need to reach out to the real Art Thomas if any of them are a living. We need to find out who the real Art Thomas is.
Wait. Did you try searching white Art Thomas? Because I did not.
I'm afraid to do it.
Me too.
Right now. Do it.
I'm so scared of the result.
I'm not doing it on my computer.
Let me go into incognito mode.
Okay, man. While you do that, while you're looking up white Art Thomas, I'll move on.
It came up with white Art Thomas Jefferson. What the fuck?
Lastly, during this Monday Night Raw, we also got another Bam Bam Bigelow match, which usually for me is definitely going to be like, yay, Bam Bam, anywhere on the card. But I will say, I first thought when Bam Bam came out and I saw him fighting Phil Apollo, I was like, another jobber. I want to see Bam Bam like fight somebody quality. So during this match, Doink shows up with an umbrella, but nothing really becomes of that, right? He just they show him with
he sprayed some fans with water and walked out.
Kind of and disappears.
Yeah.
Bam Bam gave us a beautiful flying headbutt. He did not have to do it twice this time. He did it
He
just the one
did.
time. He did it twice?
After the match was over, yeah.
Oh,
He went
yeah,
back
but I'm
up.
saying he did it. He only had to do it once to finish the job.
Yeah, but it was so beautiful he had to go back a second time.
So that's why Friar Ferguson came out, right? And he comes out and he helps Mr. Apollo because I guess Ferguson and Apollo are pals. So, while I was getting mad at Bam Bam for wrestling a jobber, I guess they're trying to elevate him up to Friar Ferguson status, which is not much better. But watching Friar Ferguson perform a drop kick on Bam Bam out of the ring was not the most fun thing to watch to me. So it's going on my bad list for
He
the week.
barely got any air on that drop kick. Yeah,
man, I don't want to see up that skirt.
That was awful.
So I just want to put it out there that to you and our pinheads, what is the WWE's thought for closing any Monday Night Raw with Friar Ferguson? Because that's what happened here. We get Friar Ferguson drop kicking Bam Bam out of the ring. We get a little, I don't remember whether it was an Ico Pro or a Saturday morning cartoon, what was the name of the Saturday morning?
WWE Mania or
WWF
Mania.
WWF Mania. That's right. I don't remember what it was, but we went away for a minute. We come back to the show with Friar Ferguson standing tall to close the show. How exciting is this?
I know. What the hell is wrong? I don't know, man. Ferguson is an odd character. I don't like him one bit.
I mean, he's a gimmick.
Luckily, we don't have to deal with him for too long.
Dude, but then you look at like NXT now, right? And you see them trying to bring back the vocational gimmicks. Like this dude is a
well, they got some guy from Chicago,
teacher,
yeah. And then they got some guy from Chicago now. Like, he's mafia.
He's a mafia guy, yeah.
Like, come on. I thought we're past this.
So I get the Razor Ramon vibe from him, kind of. That's the closest thing I can relate it to. I don't know if he'll go the distance of Razor Ramon. That would be good if he did, but that's kind of the gimmick. It's like, okay, so he's a mafia guy. He's like the modern day Razor Ramon. So we'll see where that goes. As far as the show, noteworthy commentary for this show. Rob Bartlett responds to Randy Savage asking, "How do you break that hold?" Rob Bartlett says, "You pull a knife."
Did you notice Bartlett was quiet this week? I think he's still upset from getting hit by and Macho Man in the same episode, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's just real beat up. He says barely anything. When they cut to him, he looks all roughed up and bruised up and everything. So
and annoyed. Yep.
Yeah. You know what, man? I mean, I think that pretty much covers the show. We ran it down for better or for worse. Now that the show is over, we said earlier we were going to be debuting.
Oh yeah,
making it official, and I forgot to put it on the notes. I should have made a note of it. But we said we were going to do this. We're going to make it official. Now that we're at the end of this Monday Night Raw, it's time for Meltzer Skelter. That's right. All right, Song. So, for the very first Meltzer Skelter today, this Monday Night Raw, your overall thoughts. You're going to give it, you say your show is a Monday Night Raw overall.
So this was an average show. Highlight being probably the tag team match with the Beverly and Money Inc. Low light was Friar Ferguson. Anytime he's in the ring is a low light for me.
Yeah.
So on my scale, from 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 5.5.
5.5. That's like just
average.
a little bit better than halfway.
The tag team match saved it from being below.
That's right. All right.
How about you?
All right. So, you know me, I'm on my 5-star scale here.
All right.
And I agree. Money Inc. Seeing Money Inc. was cool. That's basically the whole show is about Money Inc. versus Beverly's.
Mm-hmm.
Razor's always cool in my book. Brett interview's always cool in my book. Not as good as a Brett match.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a lot of bullshit on this episode, right? There was
A lot of bullshit. Yeah.
Giant Gonzalez, and it's a lot of bullshit for 1 hour. Giant Gonzalez was bullshit. Luna Vachon and Sherry's cool, but I didn't need that segment. It hurt my throat.
Exactly.
So and just Bam Bam, I want to see him do better things, like Bam Bam versus Bret Hart. That's going to happen someday. I mean, it already happened, but in our timeline, it's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And it probably already has happened, but I got to give it like 2.5 stars.
2.5 out of 5. That's about where my scale is too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think the professor would give it?
Man, I think it would be sacrilege for me to even guess what he would do. But I cannot
Probably
wait
the
for him
lower
to,
side.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, who knows? Sometimes the professor has a hot take or two to give, but maybe he'll let us know later on what he thought. Maybe not. If not, he'll do it for the next show. Either which way, we loved watching this episode for you, and we love talking about it with you and each other. We look forward to talking to you next time here on Pin the Champ. You got anything else to add?
No, sir.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Good night.
As always, thank you so much for listening. Now we want to hear from you. You can hit us up at pinthechamppodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at pinthechamp123, and our Google Voice number is 804-446-1139. We can't wait to hear from you.